king of the world!
Number 30, Critters 3. The third installment of this creepy crawly film was considered a low point in a franchise that didn't set the bar that high to start with. Leo's performance didn't exactly stand out as terrible against the backdrop of this strange movie, but he was the star, so he had to take a bit of the heat.
Joshua, front and center now.
Joshua? Josh, please.
This direct-to-video film was the very first performance in his filmography, and although he put in a valiant effort, even he couldn't save this movie. Filled with weird, fake-looking creatures, a strange plot, and a below-par performance from his co-stars, this sci-fi film that was supposed to be scary definitely came off more as laughable.
Give me the keys, I'm gonna wait in the car.
Forget it. We're in this together.
Number 29, The Beach. Over the years, we've seen DiCaprio get nominated for countless awards for his performances, but his role as Richard in The Beach scored him his first nomination for a Raspberry Award.
That's the way it has to be, and that's the way it is.
Set on Koh Phi Phi, Richard is trying to get away from our technologically advanced society, but everyone on the island turns on each other and they pack it in. This movie came out at the turn of the millennium, and Leo had already starred in many big movies, so it was shocking to see him in this one.
Yeah, really? Right. I like it out here, you know? Things are different. I said things are different.
While he didn't end up taking home the Worst Actor award, the fact that he was even nominated was a huge indicator of how terrible this movie was. Number 28, Total Eclipse. This mid-90s movie based on a 1960s play about an affair between two 19th century poets had good source material and a lot of potential, but it never quite lived up to it.
We should make a bargain. You help me, and I'll help you.
The film's portrayal of same-sex lovers was ahead of the curve, but it didn't get properly recognized because despite a well-intentioned plot, the execution was clumsy. While we have seen Leonardo in period pieces before, he didn't quite seem to fit the mold for his role as Arthur Rimbaud. Unfortunately, he and his co-star instead came off as unlikable and unpleasant. Number 27, The Man in the Iron Mask. The best part about this film was that we got Leo ×2, as he played the titular character Philip Bourbon, as well as his twin, King Louis XIV.
But once you're a musketeer, and I, like my father before me, have trusted you with the gravest of missions.
Even a double casting couldn't transform this period piece about the Four Musketeers into something watchable, as audiences remembered it more for being funny and strange. In reality, the Man in the Iron Mask's identity remains a mystery to this day, but the writers took a strange creative turn in making him the king's twin. Needless to say, that risk did not pay off. This was DiCaprio's first film to be released after Titanic, so everyone had high hopes, but it did not live up to the hype.
I'm sorry I failed you.
We failed you.
Number 26, Dawn's Plum. Leonardo DiCaprio and Tobey Maguire have been friends since childhood, and it was fun watching their mostly improvised performance in this film.
What's up, guys?
What's up, bro?
What's going on, bro? Who are these girls, bro?
This is Sarah, Derek.
Amy, Sarah.
Amy, how you doing?
But it will not be remembered as one of their best. Although it was amusing to watch at times, Dawn's Plum was also awkward as it tried too hard to be an edgy work of art. The film was originally supposed to be a short film, but was re-edited to be a full-length one, which led to it having no real plot.
I apologize 100%. All right, bro. Sorry, won't happen again.
It was filmed in 1995 and 96 before DiCaprio and Maguire became big stars, and they didn't even want the movie to be released, which should tell you all you need to know about it. Number 25, Celebrity. This movie was written and directed by none other than Woody Allen. While it had DiCaprio and many other big actors at the helm, Celebrity was still not a hit.
I never make moral judgments, so did you say your name? Nicole Oliver gave me my script. It's called Heist. It's about an armored car robbery.
The film took a look at the lives of modern celebrities, along with the obsession that seems to follow them around, and Leo stands out in the film as a young, bratty movie star. However, Celebrity was a commercial disappointment, and it didn't even make back half of its budget.
We can establish everything that we need to get these guys back. Is this gonna take long? Let's go. Get out of the way! Make room. Listen, Brandon, is tomorrow good for you?
For some reason, it was not a well-known film despite its impressive cast and crew. Critics thought it was a bit derivative, so we definitely can't blame Leo entirely for this movie becoming a flop. Number 24, J. Edgar. This biopic told the story of J. Edgar Hoover, who was the director of the Bureau of Investigation and was allegedly not out about being supposedly gay. He worked to increase the Bureau's power while blackmailing political figures like Franklin D. Roosevelt and Robert Kennedy.
There's no reason we both can't get what we want. We can wage a war on two fronts, sir. You understand?
You can go now, Mr. Hoover.
To top that off, this film was directed, produced, and scored by Clint Eastwood, so needless to say, it should have been a home run. Unfortunately, it was critiqued for its poor production quality and the fact that Leonardo didn't look much like Hoover, especially in his old man makeup.
Do I kill everything that I love?
While DiCaprio did end up getting a Golden Globe nomination for his role, this story that had a ton of potential ended up falling flat. Number 23, The Quick and the Dead. While seeing a young Leo as a conceited cowboy in this non-traditional spaghetti western was a treat, it wasn't enough to carry this film.
I'm worth $3,000 in 4 states. 75 offenses and no convictions. My name's Fee, but everyone calls me the Kid.
The Quick and the Dead had an all-star cast that included Gene Hackman, Sharon Stone, and Russell Crowe. And this was one of DiCaprio's first roles before making it big. He gave a strong performance as the Kid, but the movie was criticized for not being very convincing, largely because of the other actors in the film.
Damn, my fast. Did you even see me? I was so damn fast. Whoa! Hey there, Mr. Swedish Champion. Are you done?
As a result, this movie didn't perform well at the box office, but on the upside, it garnered more praise in the years after its release. Number 22, Body of Lies. Over a decade after they appeared together in The Quick and the Dead, Russell Crowe and Leonardo DiCaprio shared the screen in this drama.
Listen, Ed, we're going north now, do you hear me? We're going north to the Ballad safe house.
No, buddy. No, you're not. You're blown.
They complemented each other well in their roles as members of the CIA in the Middle East who attempt to capture a terrorist. This political movie looked at the tensions between the Arab world and Western societies, and it was released during Leo's peak hero phase in his acting career.
So we're done?
Yeah, we're done. And someone will come to bandage your wounds.
While it was not necessarily a bad movie, it was a conventional run-of-the-mill espionage film that didn't have anything new to bring to the genre. Number 21, The Basketball Diaries. While this film was not a bad one per se, as it featured an adorable young Leo who showed off his impressive acting chops even though this was still early in his career, it wasn't one of his best.
Hey, what are you doing?
Oh, we're signing the ball for Bobby.
Can I sign?
Yeah.
The Basketball Diaries was based on Jim Carroll's autobiography about a high school basketball player with substance use issues who tried to cope after his best friend died from leukemia.
Gee whiz, Ma, you know, we gotta have these heart-to-heart talks more often. They're really good for us.
Leo as Jim took center stage in this gripping cautionary tale, but the story got a bit messy. The protagonist came off as unlikable, and we were never truly sure if he recovered or redeemed himself. Number 20, The Great Gatsby. Leonardo DiCaprio reunited with some former collaborators in this flashy take on F. Scott Fitzgerald's novel, alongside longtime friend Tobey Maguire as old sport Nick Carraway.
His smile was one of those rare smiles that you may come across 4 or 5 times in life.
They also performed under Baz Luhrmann's direction, who had previously directed Leo in Romeo and Juliet. He brought his signature splashy, colorful, and fun aesthetic to The Great Gatsby. While this movie was undeniably a bit over the top, it was fun to see Leonardo in a romance movie again after years of exploring other genres.
I'm certainly glad to see you again.
I'm certainly glad to see you as well.
Leo was the perfect choice to play Gatsby, as he is similarly someone who is idolized. He is lavish yet approachable, yet we know very little about his life. Number 19, This Boy's Life. The third film in DiCaprio's repertoire was one of the better ones in his early years. This Boy's Life is about Leo as Toby, who copes with his mom's abusive partner Dwight, played by Robert De Niro, and Toby's friendship with a boy named Arthur.
But we're both aliens here. See, I don't exactly feel like an alien. I've got friends, you know? They're idiots. You act like an idiot when you're around them.
In this role, DiCaprio showed off his acting expertise with a range of emotions that were impressive for an actor of his age. We got to watch Toby go from a young boy to a rebel to someone who finds his own way. We were impressed that DiCaprio was able to stand out in this film considering who he was acting alongside, and we're not surprised this film is known for being his breakout role. Number 18, Don't Look Up. This Netflix film was Leo's first picture of the 2020s, and it was made up of an ensemble all-star cast. Don't Look Up is about a comet destroying Earth while the leaders of the world tell the population not to look up to try and keep them in the dark.
They're actually firing scientists like me for speaking out, for opposing them. And I'm sure many of the people out there aren't even going to listen to what I just said because they have their own political ideology.
The film was a satirical look at the world's indifference towards climate change and preoccupation with irrelevant things. Considering DiCaprio's environmental activism, we are not surprised he took on the role of a seasoned PhD scientist, which he played convincingly.
You've been on that side a lot lately.
Yeah, I have like a 250,000 subscribers, honey. Gotta use my voice to get the truth out there, right?
The movie is oddly funny and depressing at the same time, as it rang true to the situation of the world at the time. And there was a true passion in Leo's performance. Number 17, Marvin's Room. No, we're not talking about the Drake song.
Till it all goes bad, but shit, it's all good. We threw a party, yeah, we threw a party.
After he starred alongside De Niro in This Boy's Life, and before we saw him in Don't Look Up with Meryl Streep, Leo was in this underrated flick with both of them. Streep played DiCaprio's mother, and they played Lee and Hank respectively.
This is Lee, your daughter. And there's Charlie. Right there, you see him? Yeah. And Hank, your grandsons.
Lee is estranged from her family until her sister Bessie is diagnosed with cancer and needs a bone marrow transplant. DiCaprio as Hank is 17 and in a mental health hospital after an arson incident, but he eventually stops his rebellious streak and tries to help his family.
Hey.
What?
Nothing. But just, if you decide to take a ride or something, you ought to let me know.
It may have been hard for Leo to shine among an already star-studded cast, but this mysteriously unpopular movie is still worth watching. Number 16, Romeo and Juliet. Baz Luhrmann's interpretation of this Shakespeare classic set in modern day with dialogue that is anything but was brought to life by DiCaprio and his co-lead Claire Danes. The entire film had a tone that was a bit all over the place, as it was an acid trip-induced party paired with a tragic love story and a grand act of teenage rebellion. But DiCaprio as Romeo was undeniably dreamy, and we can't blame Danes as Juliet for falling for him instantly and marrying him just as quickly.
Romeo shall thank thee, daughter, for us both.
Everyone in the film tends to overact, and the film is definitely dramatic. But then again, so is getting married and then dying when you're in your early teens.
Dateless bargain. To engrossing death.
Romeo.
Number 15, Shutter Island. Leo went through a phase of starring in movies that could put your brain into a pretzel, and this film was definitely one of them.
These are all violent offenders, right? I mean, they've hurt people, murdered them in some cases.
In almost all cases, yes.
And personally, Doctor, I'd have to say screw their sense of calm.
In one of the many great collaborations between DiCaprio and Martin Scorsese, he gave a stunning performance as an investigator and patient in a mental health facility, who seemed just as shocked as we were when that twist was revealed. The film was solving an entirely different mystery than we were led to believe, and Leo kept us captivated all throughout.
You working for him?
I'm sorry, there wasn't any other way. Someone had to stick with you, keep you safe.
I mean, watch me, huh? Watch me every minute.
Who could forget that ambiguous ending, where Andrew ponders whether it's better to live as a monster or die a good man? How did it take this guy so long to win an Oscar? Number 14, Revolutionary Road. Kate Winslet and Leonardo DiCaprio together again. This movie received 3 Academy Award nominations, which tells us a lot about the cinematic chemistry these two bring to the screen. Based on a novel, this film tells the story of a young couple who fell out of love as they fought for their relationship.
Tell me we can have the baby in Paris. Frank, tell me we can have a different life, but don't make me stay here, please.
We can't have the baby in Paris.
Why not?
They went through the ups and downs of trying to have children and extramarital affairs, without holding back on the hardships that some couples face. The couple disagreed on life decisions while trying to keep up with the Joneses. Both DiCaprio and Winslet give dark, heartbreaking performances as the film takes a tough look at a marriage on the rocks.
Oh, don't give me that shit, April. Don't give me that. You know goddamn well you love me.
You think so?
You know goddamn well.
Number 13, Blood Diamond. While the storyline and writing in this film were questionable at times, DiCaprio was always on his game. Armed with an impressive South African accent, Leo played a mercenary on a hunt for a gem that would change his life, going through rebel territory on a hunt for the diamond.
So don't tell me you're here to make a difference, huh?
And you're here to make a buck?
I'm here for lack of a better idea.
That's a shame.
Not really.
While the film was about the corruption behind the world of African diamond trading, it was clumsily watered down for Western audiences. Nevertheless, DiCaprio's outstanding performance as Danny Archer was highly praised, and he was nominated for Best Actor, but ultimately lost out for the 3rd time.
Our deal went bad and you owe me money. I'll take a stone as payment.
Look, you think if I found a stone like that, I'd still be on this continent? Come on.
Number 12, What's Eating Gilbert Grape? This was the film that got DiCaprio his first Oscar nomination and put him on critics' and viewers' radars. He played Arnie Grape, whose big brother was the titular character who struggled to care for his family amid all of their hardships.
Don't do that. You scared me. Come here. Run away. Oh, up there, Gilbert. Yeah, you're up in the I'm right up there.
Gilbert Grape, played by Johnny Depp, was at the center of this film, but it was DiCaprio's performance that pulled at our heartstrings. While this challenging role may have been hard to watch at times, it was a testament to the young actor's abilities.
I don't want to go down there, Gilbert. Please. No way, no way, no way.
Even though he was just starting his film career, DiCaprio was able to keep up alongside a cast that included Depp, Juliette Lewis, and Mary Steenburgen. And for that, he deserves all the praise. Number 11, The Aviator. This film, based on real-life business tycoon Howard Hughes, was another successful collaboration between Scorsese and DiCaprio. Hughes' life was anything but boring, and DiCaprio was the perfect choice to bring this larger-than-life man to the big screen.
Welcome aboard, huh? Hear my voice now, make them understand that. Look, some of those fine folks down there still call me Junior. You tell them it's Mr. Hughes now.
Howard Hughes set airspeeds in the 1940s and helped Las Vegas become the city it is today, all while battling a debilitating disease that would eventually lead to his demise. DiCaprio's portrayal showed the crumbling life of this highly successful man in an endearing and powerful way.
Boy, the future. Howard? Howard, boy, the future. Boy, the future.
Let's take a walk, Howard.
Because of Leo's strong performance, not to mention a laundry list of A-list actors as co-stars. This film was nominated for 11 Academy Awards and earned Leonardo yet another Oscar nod. Number 10, The Revenant. This movie will forever be known as the one that finally gave Leonardo DiCaprio his Academy Award after 4 previous nominations.
Look at me, Scout.
That's enough!
You're forgetting your place, boy.
As far as I can tell, my place is right here on the smart end of this rifle.
Or people may remember it as the film in which he survived a bear attack and briefly lived inside a horse. Either way, The Revenant was a true story from the 1800s centered completely around Leo as fur trapper Hugh Glass. There were several scenes where it was just him against the elements, and he was completely captivating in this physically demanding role. This was a big change from his roles as Jay Gatsby and Jordan Belfort just a couple of years earlier, and this film gave him a chance to show his versatility on screen. Number 9. Gangs of New York. At this point in the list, it should be clear that DiCaprio does well in period dramas, and Gangs of New York was no exception.
Now, is that what you're calling us?
Well, I could think of a number of things to call you, Boyle.
Right, but I asked if he was calling us chiselers.
Supposing I am.
Well, then we got business.
This historical drama about a Catholic-Protestant quarrel over control of Manhattan marked the first in a long line of collaborations between Martin Scorsese and Leo, as an Irish immigrant group protested the draft. Leo, as Amsterdam, battled against Daniel Day-Lewis's Bill the Butcher.
When?
Whenever you like.
Daybreak tomorrow.
Ground.
Paradise Square.
Weapons.
That I leave up to you.
Both of these seasoned actors really showed off their acting chops, and Gangs of New York was nominated for 10 Academy Awards. It kicked off DiCaprio's career in serious, gritty movies after being in romantic flicks like Titanic and Romeo and Juliet. Number 8. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Quentin Tarantino's love letter to the golden age of cinema saw DiCaprio as Rick Dalton, a former star of a Western TV show who was fighting to stay relevant.
It's official, old buddy. It has been.
What are you talking about? What did that guy tell you?
Told me the goddamn truth is what he told me.
Whoa, whoa. Hey.
I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry about that.
Dalton struggled with the reality of aging in the film industry while showing what happened to actors when the cameras were not rolling. We were treated to a great improvised performance when Rick had a breakdown at the turning point of the film in a moment that solidified Leo as a standout in a sea of great performances.
I practiced them and now I don't look like I goddamn practiced them. You're sitting there like a baboon.
The only thing better than DiCaprio's performance was his on-screen chemistry with the equally impressive Brad Pitt as Cliff Booth. We aren't surprised that they both got Oscar nods for this film. Number 7. Killers of the Flower Moon. We're used to seeing Leo as confident characters who light up the screen. He plays against type in this Scorsese epic as Ernest Burkhart, a spineless ex-soldier who lives under his uncle's thumb. While not especially bright, Ernest is crafty enough to deceive the Osage Nation. This includes his wife, played by the impeccable Lily Gladstone. Although Ernest may love his wife and children, this is eclipsed by his greed and fear of his uncle. Leo masterfully embodies all of these layers, portraying a simple yet complex man caught in the middle.
It's not supposed to be that way. You hear?
I told him the front of the head. I said the front of the head, just like this, just like you told me. I promise you, I swear on my children.
No.
I swear on my children.
Whether or not Ernest does the right thing in the end, he'll always be a pathetic individual. You wouldn't think pathetic and DiCaprio would go together, but Leo wears the mask surprisingly well. Number 6. Inception. Leo is Cobb, a thief who escapes into people's subconscious to steal their thoughts. But he's tasked with instead planting information into someone's mind in order to erase his own past.
Now, in a dream, our mind continuously does this. We create and perceive our world simultaneously, and our mind does this so well that we don't even know what's happening. That allows us to get right in the middle of that process.
DiCaprio's mental heists take a turn as his past leaks into other people's subconsciouses, as viewers try to unravel this dream within a dream in a dream. Sound confusing? That's because it is. But it's also genius and intriguing, and we wouldn't expect anything less from writer-director Christopher Nolan.
You can't keep her out, can you?
Right.
You can't build because if you know the maze, then she knows it. Well, she'd sabotage the whole operation. Cobb, do the others know?
No, they don't.
Leo brings humanity to this mind-bending film as a lovable criminal who we only hope finds peace in the reality he ends up in, with the spinning top relentlessly turning. Number 5. Catch Me If You Can. In this Steven Spielberg film, Leo played Frank Abagnale Jr., a man who successfully impersonated a pilot, doctor, and lawyer while he was on the run from the FBI.
You do not feel sorry for me. The truth is, I knew it was you. Now, maybe I didn't get the cuffs on you, but I knew.
People only know what you tell them, Carl.
Just like we have really watched DiCaprio grow up before our eyes over the last few decades, we watched Frank transform from an innocent teenager to a confident swindler. This role captured Leo arguably kicking off the prime of his acting career, and even though this story has garnered some controversy in recent years, the performances are still memorable.
Daddy, I'm getting married. Can you believe that I'm getting married? You don't need to worry about anything now, Dad. Listen, I'm getting a brand new Cadillac. I'm getting a $60,000 house. I'm getting it all back.
DiCaprio is always charming, so he was a logical choice to play this daring con man, as we think we would believe anything he told us to. Number 4, Django Unchained. This Tarantino film depicted the southern United States during the 1850s, and Leonardo starred as Calvin Candy, the owner of a plantation called Candyland.
Well, gentlemen, you had my curiosity, but now you have my attention.
His acting was superb, and that dinner scene where he smears his blood on Kerry Washington's face was not only haunting, it was improvised. This was a genius move for DiCaprio as he accidentally cut his hand. And while we're used to seeing him play the good guy, this performance cemented that his acting range is unmatched.
Now that should be your first, second, third, fourth, and fifth concern. Now after you have that, and you know you have that, then you can start to implement a grand design. In other words, first thing is first.
First things first.
Christoph Waltz as Dr. Schultz and Jamie Foxx as Django were at the heart of this film, but Leonardo DiCaprio as Mr. Candy was the villain we didn't know we needed. Number 3, The Departed. The Departed was Scorsese's first film to score him an Academy Award, and the film won 3 other Oscars to boot. This movie is a who's who of prominent male actors of the 2000s, as it starred DiCaprio alongside Matt Damon, Mark Wahlberg, and Jack Nicholson, to name a few.
Do you know who I am?
No.
Leo shipped up to Boston to play Billy Costigan Jr., an undercover cop in the Mafia, contrasting Matt Damon's Colin Sullivan, who is a mobster pretending to be a police officer. We were never entirely sure who was bad and who was good, and we never knew when the next kill might be around the corner. One thing we do know is that DiCaprio's performance in this exceptional film was one of his best.
Do you lie?
Why? Do you?
No, I'm asking if you lie.
Honesty is not synonymous with truth.
Yeah, you lie.
Number 2, Titanic. James Cameron's epic story was the most expensive movie ever made at the time, and he clearly invested in the right actors. Titanic was nominated for a whopping 14 Oscars, but someone was clearly missing from the ballots.
I fell through some thin ice. And I'm telling you, water that cold, like right down there, it hits you like 1,000 knives stabbing you all over your body.
Leo didn't get an Academy Award nomination, despite this film centering around Rose telling the story of Jack Dawson. DiCaprio's performance encouraged all viewers to make it count, as Dawson's charismatic and carefree character was a dream come true in this period drama.
Jack, Mr. Dawson, it's been a pleasure. I sought you out to thank you, and now I have thanked you.
And you've insulted me.
Well, you deserved it.
Right.
Right.
I thought you were leaving.
We can't blame Kate Winslet's Rose DeWitt Bukater for falling in love with the boy from Third Class, and these two were irresistible as one of the most iconic couples in cinematic history.
I'm flying. Jack.
Number 1, The Wolf of Wall Street. We loved Leo as a romantic lead, but seeing him as a chaotic, selfish, no-holds-barred broker who rose and fell as quickly as the economy was a treat. He took all of us on a cocaine-infused, lavish adventure through New York's high-rolling society, and it was as intoxicating as he was.
On a daily basis, I consume enough drugs to sedate Manhattan, Long Island, and Queens for a month.
While Titanic may be his most memorable role, The Wolf of Wall Street was one of the few DiCaprio movies in which he took the reins of the film without having to depend on any side characters.
Jordan Belfort, sounding like a kind of twisted Robin Hood who takes from the rich and gives to himself and his merry little band of brokers. Read that, read it.
Listen, there is no such thing as bad publicity.
Even though Jonah Hill and Margot Robbie appeared in supporting roles, this movie will always be remembered for Leo, as he was at the helm of this chaotic ride.
We're gonna be friends?
Yeah. You want to be my friend?
We're not gonna be friends.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.